You want this as bad as you've ever wanted anything.
And?
So let's just be honest about it so we can be in the best position to win.
Think I'm pretending to be uncomfortable about airing out that man's personal life?
You prefer to feel like you've been talked into doing things that cross the line. You need to tell yourself you had no choice, right?
I think I'm in the wrong room because I came here for debate prep, but it feels like I walked into a therapy session.
Another great performance in Bel-Air, episode 9. This is going to be my episode 9 breakdown and review. And last week I talked about how the ladies should have got a TV Emmy. And this week it was definitely the two fellas on the show. I am talking about my man MI6 Jeffrey and my man Uncle Phil, America's new uncle. If you are someone who has been feeling like there hasn't been enough positive standout black male leads, you got it in this show. And the two biggest scenes for me was when Steve was in there with Uncle Phil and they were supposed to be doing debate prep, and when the secrets came out about Jeffrey's situation with his son. Two big moments, two TV Emmy moments, and I hope this show gets all the consideration because they need it. And let's jump into this review. If you're finding me for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so when I drop videos, you get them. Also, download the Life Gains podcast. I interviewed Paulina Wynn last night. She played Mai on Power Book for a Force. Great interview. And you can also see the replay on my channel. And fellas, you're going to definitely want to see what she was wearing. But her personality matches all the beauty she has outside. So go check that out. In the beginning, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting this episode out with the family has got to go to the Baptist Black Church with Reverend Lamont, not Lamont Tyson, which is me, but Lamont with an E on his name, and I don't got no E on the end of my name. And we learn a lot of things about the family. We see more and more of Ashley's ambitions with the LGBT community. We learn Carlton got damn golden pipes. I'm talking about the kind of golden pipes that might make you think he's an African version of Luther. So they're headed to church, and Ashley, with her LGBT wishes, is trying to get the pastor to put some more people at the helm that represent the people she's representing. And as we're seeing that, Hillary rolls up and meets one of her old girlfriends who's in the church. Now, I can't figure out what's going to happen with this chick, but I sense, my spidey senses is tingling that there's going to be a lot of drama with this chick because she was enjoying Hillary's influencing. And we come to find out this chick got 10 million followers and Hillary wants to collab with her. And obviously you see the shade that happens to people who don't have a big following, which is why people have to do stupid shit like the thirsty chef type stuff so that they can at least get their following up so that people want to collaborate you. I mean, I'm in that situation right now with 137,000 subscribers. I'm still battling to try to do things with, you know, bigger interviews with bigger celebrities, bigger YouTubers. And this was an example of that. And I wonder what is going to be the fallout from this girl because you know it's coming. We get into church. And I'd be damn if Carlton can't sing. Boy, he in there letting the golden pipes go. But before that happened, he had a conversation with Will in which he didn't know how to answer. And that was because Carlton had a lot on his mind. He was a little worried about the manner and the pressure that was on him because Dad wanted him to really represent. So Carlton gets up here. He starts out sounding great, and then it flamed out quick as hell. And for my folks that remember the original show, did you guys see Will make a mention about Carlton sounding like Boys to Men? If you guys can remember the original Fresh Prince, baby Nikki was christened by Boys to Men in a church. So I enjoyed that Easter egg and fall back to Boys to Men. And I keep telling you all, I got introduced to Boys to Men because of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and they became one of my all-time greatest singing groups. And this would have been good if I could have heard Carlton, but man, he choked on church. And you guys probably was thinking to myself, man, this got something to do with that coke. And we'll get back to that in a minute. They get back home. They got Carlton all taken care of. He's chilling. He's relaxing. Aunt Vivian, my TV wife for the moment, comes in there and she's talking to her daughter, Ashley. Now, what Ashley doesn't know is that the mom already knows that she's lesbian. And the mom was just trying to put her in position to reveal the truth. Mom done everything but say, girl, I already know, you can be honest with me, because she's trying to wait for Ashley to go ahead and come on out and be comfortable with it on her own. And I'll give her credit for being supportive. And I would like to see Ashley go ahead and come on out and just let mom know, because mom is trying to put her in a position where she's got someone she can trust and doesn't have to bottle up her feelings. Will is over here eating the thirsty chef's food, and all this time, the secret finally came out to Hillary that Carlton is doing coke and Xanax. Now, for all you trolls that tried to tell me, oh, he never said he's doing coke. He said Xanax. Y'all don't watch enough TV, because I told you guys it wasn't just Xanax he was doing. He's doing coke, rum and coke. I ain't talking about the kind you drink. He was doing that powder, that sugar, that nasal sugar booger is what he was doing. And they just broke it down and admitted it in the scene. And Hillary was taken aback because she had no idea that was going on. And she wanted Will to go in there and talk to him, which he did. And they talked about an issue that has been going on big in our community, but in particular the black community, males, because we're supposed to be so tough. Carlton doesn't know how to talk to anybody about these feelings he's having. And fellas, I'm here to tell you, black men, talk to people about your feelings, because when you bottle this stuff up, it comes out in a way that you might regret. And I was glad to see Will be there for him to let him know, brother, I got your back. I'm here for you. And Carlton received the information and then said, Will, I need to be alone. And Will was there for him, man. I'm appreciating how this brothership between these two is growing. I told you guys eventually you was going to like Carlton, and this is how it started out on the original show. It took some time for them to like each other, but it did work out. My man Jazzy Jazz, about to get them panty draws from Hillary. He came in here to help her get her stuff back from the Thirsty Chef house. And while they was in there, he was talking and helping her out, and she was trying to pretend like she ain't need no help. And he was like, well, what the hell am I doing here getting your poster down? And then he was going to do something to try to be nice to her. He was going to invite her over to the crib to cook. And she was going to go as a way to say, thank you for coming and helping me. But you know what she said? She was like, man, to hell with that. Why don't you come to my 5-star bungalow? Not a hotel, y'all, not a motel, not a hotel, not a motel. My bungalow, that's some rich shit right there. And we can order dine in. I can only imagine the old Jazzy Jeff is somewhere like, damn, I ain't never get a shot with Hillary then, but this dude getting the shot. And yes, I'm liking them flourishing. And Hillary gonna give up them panty draws. It's coming. Will receives the information from my boy MI6, which, ladies and gentlemen, MI6 is another guy who's still in the show. And he's really about letting Will know what happened and why. And there's a reason for that, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But Will is a little nervous about the letter and the information. Jeffrey has already read it. He knows what's in there. And he wants Will to have the choice in whether he knows about his father or not. And I really admire that. I mean, Jeffrey has a code, and we all love dudes who are loyal and have codes. That's something that a lot of the old school heads feel like is missing nowadays. But this particular version of Jeffrey is showing that he's tough, he's cunning, he believes in the truth, but more importantly, he has love and loyalty to this family. And then we get into this scene, ladies and gentlemen, that I played in the beginning of the show, where they're debating whether or not they should drop the bomb on old Rollin Stone Fred Rollin Stone, about cheating on his wife who had lupus. And I remember some of you trolls trying to tell me, you don't know that he was I said, look, y'all, when y'all going to follow Lamont and believe in what he says and trust his theories? You can see it. You can see it coming. And Steve, the campaign manager, my boy Dwayne Martin, wants him to tell everything. Get up there on that campaign and tell it all. And MI6 Jeffrey's like, yeah, the crowd will love that. 2 black men tearing each other down. Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Politics is almost like illegal drugs. There's no honor among thieves. There's no honor in politics, because politics is power. And most of the time, people is willing to give up whatever it takes to get that power. And the problem with giving that up is when you have people who decide to put whatever their code of ethics is before that power, they usually lose. And those are the people you need in office when you're dealing with a corrupt business. But because you have to be corrupt in some cases to get the office, you don't get the right people in office. And Steve was giving good advice as a manager, and Jeffrey was giving good advice as a friend and someone who loves the family. But we're going to see how that plays out at the very end. You guys already know how it went down, and we're going to deep dive into that and talk about it. I enjoyed seeing Daphne Maxwell Reed, the second Aunt Vivian, and I enjoyed seeing the first Will's mama. But ladies and gentlemen, as I'm looking at these two, my feelings are getting hurt because I was so young when they portrayed their roles on the old Fresh Prince. And to see them old now makes me feel like, man, all my childhood stars are getting old, and you know what that means. But they're in here interviewing Vivian about her fellowship. And I was glad that they brought these two back so that we could see them again. And basically they asked Vivian, exactly why did you stop? And she gave them a great answer, ladies and gentlemen. She basically said, I'm supposed to tell y'all that it's because of my family. But it was really, I just got burnt out. And then she said, when Will got there, that reignited her spark, her fire to get back out here and do it. And that's another parallel I have with this YouTube channel, which is why I do try to interview people, because there's any given day we could all just be having a bad day. And on any given day, people in social media who are trying to build a presence, who are trying to build YouTube, and you just feel like nothing is helping you grow. That's a reason why I bring on smaller YouTubers and social media influencers and actors to do these interviews, because you never know what somebody's word could do to keep you going forward, which is why I keep reaching out to people to do interviews. And in this moment, Vivian said Will's coming to stay with them propelled her. It got her juices flowing again. It reinvigorated that youthfulness in her to get her going. So if you are an actor trying to make it, if you are a social media influencer trying to make a YouTuber, and you want to do an interview with me, just hit me up. Hit me on Instagram, and I'll see what I can do to get you up here. We can review a show and introduce people to you guys, because it's little things like that that can get you to the next level where you're doing big things. And of course, they told her, you already got the fellowship, but it's going to be a sacrifice. It's going to be a sacrifice of a year from your family, doing tours, doing speeches, traveling around the world, and it's something they want her to think about. Oh, Lord. Uncle Phil, America's uncle, finds out that Will got the information from MI6 about his dad. Will decides, I don't even want to know, because you've been more of a dad than anyone has been to me. As bad as I hate to say it, fellas, black community, this is the story for a whole lot of us young black men out there. My story is the same. When I did have an opportunity to meet my dad after college, I do go to his house to meet him. I knock on the door. The wooden door is open. Screen door is there. So someone is in the house. I knock on the door after this man done talked to me on the phone to say, let's meet for the first time ever after 26 years. He doesn't even come to the door. Doesn't even come to the door. And there are times, ladies and gentlemen, whether you want to hear it or not, some things are better left sealed than unsealed. Because when you find out the truth, that pain, that rubble that's in the past already can cause you to be stagnant in life in the moment and pull you down while you're making a push to be a better person. It can drag you down. So I used to be young and say every truth needs to be revealed. But if something is going to make you stagnant in life, pull you down a peg, and not allow you to keep prospering, some things are better off left not known. And this for Will is one of those situations. And I'm glad he decided that he didn't want to know. But ladies and gentlemen, you can cool believe this show is going to spin us in a year or two to him finding out in a hard way. And after we find out that he's not going to want to pursue it, he's playing the piano. Now, ladies and gentlemen, think about this. Will can play the piano. Carlton can sing. You put these two together and you got a damn dynamic duo. Pianist and a singer. And I do believe that this show is sometime later going to take down the road, these two performing together, singing and playing the piano. And this was a conciliatory moment between the two because Carlton has had an epiphany with his drugs. He tells Will, you prevented me from doing the drugs, and I'm thankful to you. And Will's letting Carlton know, I'm over these issues with my dad, and I really enjoy how these two have started from the beginning of this show to now coming together basically as brothers through thick and thin, through turmoil with women. And speaking of women, Will can't reach Lisa, and it feels like something is awry. And what's awry? Rollin Stone done got information from that damn judge about how Uncle Phil saved Will. And Rollin Stone is basically telling Lisa, look, you ain't to have nothing to do with Will because he's bad news, which is the wrong impression. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't tell you how many times throughout the history of this country we have been placed in bad positions, and some little underhanded things might have had to get us out of it that might not look right, but was the right outcome. And that's what happened to Will. He shot a gun in the air, which would have ruined his life forever, especially because he's black, and we know that the criminal justice system is not equitable. It would have screwed him over. Uncle Phil pulled a string that got him out, and Will's been hiding this from Lisa because obvious reasons. Campaign, they're trying to date, and he didn't want her to have that information that could possibly ruin their relationship. But she's about to find out. And then we get to my Emmy scene for this show on this week. My man MI6, Jeffrey, and America's uncle, Uncle Phil, have this debate. Take a look.
We both know my real job is to protect you and your family. Sometimes those two things don't align.
You mean protect them from me?
I mean to protect them from your ambitions. Because once those start stirring up inside you, everything and everyone gets steamrolled.
Bullshit. Bullshit. The only reason you sided with Lou is because you feel guilty about leaving your own boy behind.
So we understand why MI6 is so passionate about the plight of this family. He loves them. This is his new family. And also the plight of him getting the information to Will because he's not got a good relationship with his own family. And I thought it was a little dig and a little underhanded that Uncle Phil took a dig at my man like that. But ladies and gentlemen, families tend to do this because we tend to know all the insecurities that we have about our loved ones. And when we get upset, we dig at them. He essentially fires MI6 and tells him to pretend like it's a leave of absence. This was a great scene of black male brotherly love. It was, because it looked like they was about to fight. They eased the tension, and in essence, they left on kind of a good note. But you guys know this is not the end of my man MI6. And MI6 still, even in the moment of anger and being fired, is telling Phil, you need to do the right thing for your family because they would split under pressure. We get Will being confronted by Lisa because she wants to know the whole truth, and she's found out the whole truth. And I've noticed that when you hide things from women and they done gave up them panty draws, they will throw that shit back in your face quick, because Lisa done it right here. Will, I gave you everything, including the damn sex. And Will came clean to her. He explained why the situation went the way it was, and he's begging her not to say anything. And begging her to stop her father, but she's pretty much saying it's out of my control. It's gonna be done, and I don't know what to tell you, Will. And then we get Uncle Phil talking to old Judge Carl Robertson. And he's just talking about, we had a plan. You decided to sputter from that plan. And keep in mind, I don't know why they would want to get the information out there that a string was pulled to free Will. Because ladies and gentlemen, do this judge not know that's going to fall back on him and make his ass look bad? Does he not realize that? Apparently he's thinking he's above that, because he comes in there to gloat and tell Uncle Phil, look, we had a plan, you deviated. And Uncle Phil's like, bruh, I grew since I left you. And old Carl had to remind Uncle Phil, I did you a solid, and you wanted to go off the reservation. It's all good. It's all good. And Will and Carlton show up to try to warn the dad, and you seen the look in the dad's face, which made me think something crazy was about to happen. And we get on to the debate, and that's when the crazy happens. Uncle Phil, America's uncle, decides he's dropping out this race for his family and for the fact that he really and truly wants Vivian to have this second flight in her life to do what her heart's desire and flourish. But ladies and gentlemen, don't think this is the end for Uncle Phil, because on the original show, Uncle Phil became a judge. And I'm sure once Vivian gets to flourishing, he can always come back and run and become a higher judge, appellate court judge, Supreme Court judge. Opportunities is not going to be gone because of this. And at the same time, the sacrifice he just made for Vivian is well timed because they're well off at this moment. And it is time for her to do her thing. But here's my fear, ladies and gentlemen. He sacrificed all this for the family and for Vivian, but is he sending Vivian to the lion's den, into the arms of old light-skinned, green eyes, light eyes, that is going to wind up getting Vivian's panty draws? I know y'all think that couldn't happen, but look at how many things I said would happen this season that have happened. I told y'all Carlton was doing coke. Oh no, it's only Lamont, Lamont. You don't know what you're talking about. I told y'all Lisa and Will would probably have a situation where the truth would come out between each other and try to be used in the campaign. It did. I told y'all that Jazzy, Jeff, on this show is going to get Hillary's draws. It ain't happened yet, but you see it's on the way. You don't invite somebody to your 5-star bungalow just to eat cheese crackers. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I've been saying that my man, old light-skinned eyes, is going to get Vivian's draws, and that could possibly be the way we get the new baby Nikki. And I still think that theory could happen if it doesn't become Will and Lisa's baby Nikki to come. So leave me all you guys' comments, and if you are, trying to make it in this social media world and you want a little boost, just shoot me a message on Instagram. I try to do interviews with people up and coming to help boost their presences. And go check out on my channel, I've got a playlist of interviews I've done with stars and up and coming social media people so that you can kind of see what we're all about. And don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe. Come back tonight and check me out with the living legend Larry as we review Snowfall. Till that next Sexy as Hell video, I'll see you.